Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the BFNL Footy Show for another week. Great to be joining you once again. First of our big major bye weeks this weekend in the Ballarat Football Netball League, which means that finals aren't far away at all, and a big show we have planned for you today. Sean Kelly's my name. Joining me as he always does, my co-host Liam Brady. Brady, it's great to have you here once again.
Yeah, looking forward to the show, Sean. Looking forward to talking about a few interesting topics, mate. Some good games last weekend to talk about.
Yeah, there was indeed. Starting with the game at Eureka Stadium, and Lake Wendouree, you picked this one last week, going up against North Ballarat City, and North City just too strong for them in the end.
Yeah, they're playing some pretty good footy at the moment, North City, and I think they'll be thereabouts come September. They're obviously playing against a Lake Wendouree side. They've still got a few players out, but look, Lake is, hopefully we'll get those players back over the next few weeks. And North City, they do play very well at home. So a really good win.
Yeah, it was indeed a great win. As you said, the Lakers had a few out. North City had a couple out as well, Derek Micallef really showing his importance. 6 goals this weekend. And I had a chat to a few of the boys that were there on Saturday, the day after it on Sunday, and they just said he was back to his best.
He's a class act, Derek. He's been a good player for a long period of time now. We know that he's obviously played a high level of footy in VFL footy, and he's been a really good VFL player for quite some time. I think that he's the sort of player that he can be quiet for a quarter or two, but if he gets free for quarter and a half, he can really turn a game.
Yeah.
And he's so damaging around goals, and he uses the football so well when he's got the ball in his hands as well. So that damaging left foot, we know that he's got. So he's certainly a player to watch out for the remaining rounds and also finals.
Yeah, certainly is indeed. Talking point number 2, the Borough, 3rd win for the season. Fantastic to see Sebastopol get their win, Liam, their 3rd one for the year, and not just a win, they flogged Melton South. Let's not sugarcoat it at all. Melton South held to just 2 goals for the day. Shane Snipson was in here a few weeks ago when you were up in Far North Queensland, and he mentioned that their defence is really what's pleased him this year, and they showed it on the weekend.
Yeah, they've been certainly one of the stories of the year so far, I think, Sebas. They've certainly shown great improvement, and for them to win quite convincingly on the weekend was a great reward, I suppose, for the hard work they're putting in. And they come on the back of Shane Simpson obviously recommitting to the club.
Correct.
Last week for a further year, which is great to see, and that'll mean that it'll be his 3rd year at the club next year. So the development of those younger players is really important, and obviously the more experienced players they've got in Goods and these sort of guys.
Yep.
Jack McNabb's been a great revelation so far for the Sebastopol side so far this year, and looked for them to win quite convincingly on the weekend. It was a great result. It was obviously fairly wet conditions, not muddy conditions, but they played the conditions really well and were far too strong for Melton South.
Yeah, they were indeed. Congratulations to Sebastopol on getting their 3rd win for the season, and you never know, there might be another one in the works for them before the end of the season. We didn't think they'd beat Darley, and they did that, so who knows what's coming up for Sebastopol.
Yep, no, exactly right, and they play Redan this week at home, and you just never know. Look, if Redan take them too lightly,
correct,
they could come undone for them. So you can't afford to walk into a game against Sebast these days and underestimate their ability, because they'll obviously come out firing, and they're a big chance to cause every upset.
They are indeed. We'll talk more about that shortly, but before we do, talking point number 3, tonight at the Ballarat Leagues Club is the BFNL's Hall of Fame dinner. We've spoken about it a bit over the last couple of weeks, Liam, but a big night set. Aaron Nunn's done a lot of work to prepare for this night, and it's going to be an absolute ripper down at the Leagues Club, where some more players, officials, administrators from past years get inducted into the Ballarat Football Netball League Hall of Fame, and I think we'll also see an upgrade from an existing Hall of Fame member up to a legend of the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about this on the show the last couple of weeks, but really exciting night. I've been to the last few, and as I mentioned, I think last week, it's great to learn a bit more about the history of the Ballarat Football League, and more in particular learn a bit more about various individuals and the accolades that they've I suppose achieved throughout their playing, but also administrative career as well. We're seeing not only players get inducted, but administrators as well. So, and as you said, a legend will get inducted, I think, tonight as well. So, looking forward to seeing who that will be.
Yes.
Looking forward to a great night.
Yeah, it'll be an absolutely fantastic night at the Ballarat Leagues Club, and of course, keep your eye on the BFNL website over the next couple of days for all of the information about the newest Hall of Fame members for the Ballarat Football Netball League. Time to turn our attention to this week though, Liam. Round 15 this weekend. Now, a lot of people out there will be looking at the fixture and say, well, what's going on? You've got 3 games this week, you've got 5 teams that have got a bye. Tell us a little bit about why that is.
Well, it's the reason why that 5 teams got a bye, Sean, is because each team has a couple of byes throughout the year, and
An 11-team competition fitting into 18 rounds doesn't fit evenly, does it?
Exactly right. So it's, you need a few weeks throughout the year where more than one team has a bye. So that's the reason why there's a few teams that have got a bye this weekend. So
obviously to ensure that all teams play 16 games, 8 home,
correct.
8 away throughout the season.
Exactly right. So and then we see over the next couple of weeks that just back to the one team who've got the bye over the last 3 rounds. So 3 games this weekend and 3 really good games.
They are indeed. Just wanted to put that out there to get some of the confusion out of there for people that look at the draw beforehand. But you're right about them being some good games, and one that we've already touched on a little bit this week, Sebastopol taking on Redan at the Marty Bush Reserve. Redan will be used to the heavy conditions, obviously playing out here at the City Oval, which isn't exactly a running track at the moment, but watched a bit of Redan last week up against Darley in a game that Darley had to win, and boy, Redan looked pretty good. Yeah,
Redan are playing good footy at the moment. They've, although they did have I suppose, disappointing loss a couple of weeks ago to Sunday.
Last week they rebounded well.
They did bounce back, and they had to, I think. So I think they'll be too strong for Sebastopol. I don't think they're a very, very, very professional unit. Redan, Eamon Gill's done a really good job with the side, and I don't think they'll underestimate Sebastopol on the weekend. Just knowing a few of the individuals they've got in the team and the coaching staff, so I think they'll be a bit too strong for Sebas. But I think Sebas showed on the weekend that they'll be more than competitive against a good Redan team. The conditions will probably be fairly muddy and wet, so it'll be interesting to see how Sebas go. I think just in the end, I think Redan will be a bit too strong.
Tipping it'll be fairly hot in the kitchen early on, especially when Sebas take a bit of that the form from last week and a bit of the confidence they earned in that win last week into the start of the game. But you'd think Redan, with the talent that they've got on the park, should be able to wear them down.
Yep, you should. I couldn't agree more, but I think it'll be very hot early on, and you never know if Sebas can get the first couple of goals. You just never know what can happen.
Exactly right. Melton South at home this week at the Melton Rec Reserve up against Ballarat. Melton South will flag this one as a game that they could potentially be competitive in and potentially take home their first win of the season. They would have flagged last week as well, and they'll be very disappointed coming home with only 2 goals on the board. But Ballarat have played some good footy in recent weeks, and they've really taken it up to some of the top teams. They gave a couple of teams a bit of a send up as well. So Melton South will be confident here, but I reckon Ash Baker's boys will travel down the highway pretty confident as well.
Yeah, you'd think so, Sean. I think Melton South played pretty well at home a few weeks ago against Lake Wendouree, more than competitive. So I think based on that, and as you said, they're a chance to record their first win for the season against a really young side in Ballarat as well. Yeah. I think the fact that the game's at Melton South, I'm going to tip Melton South here. I think Ballarat probably start as favourites going into the game, but I'm tipping Melton South to record their first win for the year.
It's a completely different story playing at the Rec Reserve than it is anywhere else. It's a very, very small ground, and Melton South know how to play it very, very well. That being said, I just think Ballarat's in that bit better form at the moment and should have, in the end, a bit more firepower than Melton South at the end of the day. Then a pretty big game at Eureka Stadium as well this week. North Ballarat City taking on East Point. North City, we know, fantastic win last week against Lake Wendouree, really shooting for a top 3 position, which could be theirs if they win today. East Point just about running out of chances. They got a get out of jail free card last week with Daly and Melton both losing, themselves losing to Bacchus Marsh as well. What they need is to come out in this game and probably take a big scalp.
I'm going to say that if East Point can win this game, they'll play finals.
Yep. They've
got a pretty good run home. Just having a look at the games they've got over the next 3 weeks, I think they should possibly win all those games on the run home.
Yep.
So if they could cause an upset here, they will play finals. So it's a big incentive, isn't it? Really, knowing that you run out on Saturday.
It's an elimination final for
you.
Them,
win the game, probably finish 6th. So, but I just think that North City will be too strong. You can't tip against North City after the way they performed at home,
especially at Eureka Stadium
against Lake Wendouree on the weekend. So I think North City will win the game, but I think East Point will take it right up to them.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. I think you've surmised that one beautifully. East Point will be taking it. It'll be a similar game to East Point against Lakers the other week, where they took Lakers all the way to the end of the game, but couldn't quite land that killer blow. I've got a feeling it'll be the same this week. Obviously, Jordan Burke's still out for North Ballarat City, but doing a great job from the coach's box. Apparently gave a couple of the all-time good ones on the weekend. There were some water bottles that got thrown at windows and everything like that. Just didn't really enjoy not playing and watching from the coach's box, but you get that when you're a playing coach. It happens. But great to see North City up and about. I think they'll get the win this week, and that'll put them more than likely in third spot at the end of the round, which I think is where they'll want to be.
Yep, pretty important spot to finish third. We know the third place 6, and if you win, you put yourself in a second semi. So
Exactly right. Fantastic to have you joining us this week on the BFNL Footy Show. Enjoy the Hall of Fame dinner for those that are going down to the Leagues Club tonight. Enjoy the footy this weekend, even though there's only 3 games and a lot of teams having a bit of a rest and some teams looking for that rest as well. I know Lake Wendouree were pretty well looking for that rest this weekend. Couple of big games around. Make sure you get down and support your favourite team this weekend. Liam, thanks for joining us.
thanks, Shaun. Good to be here.
Good to be here. Good to have you here as well. And thanks, of course, to our great friends at McDonald's Ballarat and Ballarat Toyota for all of their support of the BFNL Footy Show throughout the year. We'll see you next week.